December 31st, 1907. New York City stands at the edge of a new era. Electric lights glow against winter darkness. The subway has just opened 2 years earlier. Skyscrapers rise where low buildings once stood. Tonight, for the first time in history, 250,000 people will gather in one place to watch an illuminated ball descend from the sky. This is the birth of a tradition that will last over a century. Welcome to Times Square, on the night that changed New Year's Eve forever. Times Square is barely recognizable from the quiet intersection it was just 5 years ago. Back then, it was called Longacre Square, home to horse stables and carriage makers. Now it is the beating heart of Manhattan. The Times building towers above the street, 47 stories of steel and stone. Its name was just given to the square this year. The building's architect designed it to stand as a monument to journalism, to progress, to the power of the written word in the modern age. All day, workers have been preparing. High above the street, technicians assemble a wooden sphere covered in 100 electric light bulbs. Each bulb weighs as much as a man's fist. The ball weighs 700 pounds. At midnight, it will descend 70 feet down a flagpole. No one has ever attempted anything like this before. The engineers are nervous. What if the cables snap? What if the lights fail? What if the crowd panics? Below, the streets buzz with anticipation. Horse-drawn carriages navigate between early automobiles, crude machines that sputter and backfire, frightening the horses. Steam rises from manhole covers, creating ghostly columns in the winter air. Vendors sell roasted chestnuts and hot pretzels from wooden carts. The air smells of coal smoke and horse dung, mixed with perfume from passing ladies in fur coats. Newspaper boys shout headlines about President Roosevelt, about the financial panic earlier this year, about whether America can truly become the greatest nation on earth. As dusk settles, Broadway transforms into the Great White Way. Electric signs flicker to life, one by one. Theater marquees glow with impossible brightness. This is advertising's golden age. Companies compete to create the most dazzling spectacle. The Coca-Cola sign stretches across an entire building. The Wrigley's Gum sign features dancing letters 20 feet tall. A Heinz pickle glows green against the darkening sky. These are not mere advertisements. They are declarations of power. They say, "We have conquered night itself." On Fifth Avenue, department store windows display their finest goods. Macy's has strung electric lights around every window. Inside, shoppers crowd the aisles, buying last-minute gifts. Women in floor-length wool coats examine silk gloves and lace handkerchiefs. Men in top hats select cigars and pocket watches. Children press their faces against glass, staring at mechanical toys and porcelain dolls. A music box plays Silent Night. A toy train circles a miniature village. Everything is for sale. Everything is possible. But walk 3 blocks east, and the world changes completely. In the tenement buildings of the Lower East Side, immigrant families celebrate more quietly. Coal stoves heat-cramped apartments where 8 people share 3 rooms. Children speak English while their parents cling to Italian, Yiddish, German, Polish. They came to America for opportunity. They found 12-hour workdays in garment factories. They found streets that smelled like garbage instead of gold. Tonight, they'll mark the new year with whatever food they can afford. A mother makes soup from chicken bones saved all week. A father counts coins, wondering if there will be enough for rent in January. Their children don't understand why they can't have the toys in the Macy's window. The parents don't know how to explain that those toys cost more than a month's wages. The contrast between wealth and poverty is never more visible than on a holiday. Fifth Avenue and the Lower East Side exist in the same city, but they might as well be different planets. By 10 o'clock, the crowd in Times Square has grown beyond imagination. 200,000 people pack the intersection. They stand shoulder to shoulder, hats dusted with falling snow. Policemen on horseback try to maintain order, But the energy is too great. This is not a wealthy crowd. These are working people, immigrants, office clerks, shop girls. The rich celebrate at private parties in brownstone mansions. But here, in the street, everyone is equal. Street vendors work the crowd, selling noisemakers and paper hats. A man plays accordion on the corner. Women link arms and sing. The temperature hovers just above freezing, but no one complains. Breath hangs in clouds. Somewhere in the mass of bodies, a pickpocket lifts a wallet. Somewhere else, a couple shares their first kiss. Above them, the Times building blazes with light. Every window is illuminated. On the roof, the ball hangs ready, wired to 5,000 watts of electricity. In newspaper offices across the country, telegraph operators wait to send the message. The ball has dropped. The new year has arrived, 11:59. The crowd falls silent. Every face turns upward. For 60 seconds, 250,000 people hold their breath together. In that moment, nothing else exists. Not the cold, not the press of bodies, not tomorrow's rent or yesterday's failures. Only the ball, hanging in darkness, waiting. Then it begins. The ball descends slowly, gracefully, trailing light like a falling star. 100 bulbs glow white-hot against the night sky. Each second feels like an eternity. 10, 9, 8. The crowd begins to count. 7, 6, 5. Voices merge into a single roar. 4, 3, 2, 1. The crowd erupts. Cheers shake the buildings. Windows rattle. The ground itself seems to tremble. Strangers embrace. Men kiss women they've never met. Children are lifted onto shoulders. Confetti, torn newspaper, shredded paper, anything that can be thrown, fills the air like snow. Factory whistles blow from across the city. Church bells ring from every direction. Fireworks explode over the harbor, painting the sky in gold and silver. For 1 minute, all of New York celebrates as one. The banker and the street sweeper, the actress and the shop girl, the immigrant and the native-born. In this moment, class distinctions vanish. In this moment, everyone is American. In this moment, the 20th century truly begins. The ball drop is not just a celebration, it is a symbol. Progress, innovation, the triumph of electricity over darkness. America stepping into its role as the modern world's leader. The noise continues for 10 full minutes. People shout until their voices give out. They dance in the streets. They throw their hats in the air. Police abandon their posts to join the celebration. Even the horses seem to sense the moment's importance, stamping their hooves and tossing their heads. Then gradually the crowd begins to disperse. Some head to restaurants. Others walk home through snow-dusted streets, their ears still ringing. A few stay to watch the cleanup crews sweep confetti into piles the size of haystacks. Inside the grand restaurants along Broadway, the night is just beginning. These are the lobster palaces, where New York's elite dine until dawn. Rectors, Shanleys, Churchills. Electric chandeliers hang above white tablecloths. Waiters in tuxedos carry silver trays piled with oysters on ice, lobster thermidor swimming in butter, champagne and crystal flutes that cost more than a factory worker's monthly wages. Orchestra music drifts through cigar smoke. Women in silk gowns dance with men in tailcoats. Diamonds catch the light. Laughter echoes off marble columns. This is wealth on full display. A single meal here costs what a factory worker earns in a week. But tonight, no one discusses prices. They toast the future. They laugh too loudly. By 3 in the morning, half the crowd will be drunk. By 4, they'll stumble into waiting carriages and motor cars, leaving generous tips for waiters who will count the money with trembling, grateful hands. Meanwhile, 3 blocks away, in tenement apartments, children finally sleep. Parents sit by coal stoves, talking quietly about the year ahead. Will there be work? Will the rent increase? Will their children have better lives than they did? Will this new century bring the opportunity America promised? These are the questions that never stop, no matter how many balls drop or how bright the lights shine. They came to America believing the streets were paved with gold. They found that the streets were paved with cobblestones, and someone had to lay them. As dawn breaks over the city, Brooklyn Bridge stands silent against a pale orange sky. The celebration is over. The streets are empty except for a few stragglers making their way home. Snow covers the confetti. Steam rises from subway vents. The city looks peaceful, almost innocent. But this is New York. In a few hours, the streets will fill again. Life will resume its frantic pace. The skyscrapers will cast their long shadows. The immigrants will go back to their factories. The rich will go back to their mansions. And high above Times Square, the ball will be dismantled and stored until next year. That night in 1907, New York created a tradition that would spread around the world. Today, over 1 billion people watch the Times Square ball drop every year. The ball has been redesigned 6 times. The crowd has grown even larger, but the spirit remains the same. For one moment, we stop. We look up. We mark the passage of time together. This AI reconstruction brought you back to the very first ball drop, based on historical photographs, newspaper accounts, and eyewitness descriptions. The images you've seen don't exist in reality. No video cameras captured that night. But through AI, we've glimpsed what those 250,000 people saw when they stood in the cold and watched a lit ball descend into history. Which historical moment should we recreate next? Paris in the 1920s? Ancient Rome? The first flight at Kitty Hawk? Leave your suggestions in the comments. Subscribe to witness more moments that shaped our world. Happy New Year from 1907.